George Soros got a bomb in his mailbox. Who sent it? Could it be George Soros? Problem solution. The Nazis are using their old playbook. Coming up next on Deceptions of the Ages News. Hello everybody and welcome to Deceptions of the Ages News. Before we go too much farther, I just want to ask you, do you remember the anthrax scare after 9/11? And where did that ultimately be traced? Where was it ultimately traced to? I believe it was traced to a CDC or Center for Disease Control lab in Maryland. Something to think about. Another thing I'd like you to think about is subscribing to this channel and a possible sponsorship on Patreon. All right, now let's get down to business. The issue that is at hand here is a very serious issue, and it needs to be treated with very serious, I guess we'll say gravitas, as the Romans would say, because it is frightening if people are actually going to these extremes. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid on this one quite yet, and I will tell you why. The first thing is, let's look at who is George Soros. Now, according to the media, or people like Roseanne Barr, he was actually a Nazi collaborator as a young Jewish boy and actually told on his Jews so that they could be sent to concentration camps in Hungary. So George Soros grew up. I don't know what he did between then and 1995, but he spent a lot of time speculating in currency and basically crashing poor countries' currencies and buying them when they crashed and then selling them when they became more expensive. And one example of that is his association in 1995 with the Clintons when the Mexican peso was about ready to tank. And he had invested a lot of money in it and he was going to lose everything. And guess what? Old Slick Willie, Bill Clinton, circumvented the Congress and, claiming national security, sent $20 billion to bail out not only Mexico, but George Soros. And that made him a multi-billionaire because he had bought so much of the currency so cheaply. And before it tanked, it went back up once it was backed by Uncle Whiskers and Slick Willie and the American taxpayers' money. Okay, so that's who George Soros is, but let's talk about his association with the Nazis and what did he learn? Well, the Nazis had a very simple solution to all their problems, and it was this. The solution is presented after you present the problem. And the first example I will give you is the Reichstag fire of 1933. Burned down in the middle of the night, and a single terrorist or suspect was rounded up. Although the Nazis said there were many others, and this guy, von Luba something or other, Milnius Luba, said, no, it was just me. But the Germans said, no, it was, you had all these communists behind you. So they started rounding them up and sending them to concentration camps. And you know the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. All right, so the second example of this is the Polish border. Adolf Hitler wants the Russian territory, and so he wants to invade Poland first to set up a staging area. So what he does is they take some German prisoners and they kill them. And then they take them to a radio station on the border of Poland. It's a German radio station. Put the bodies in there and say the Poles came in and shot the people working at the radio station. And so now it's time to attack. All right, so again, problem solution. Reichstag fire, get the communists. German radio station attacked on the border, attack Poland, right? So you have the attack and then you have the subsequent action. So now what you have is you have these, okay, so let's look at that situation now. The bomb sent to Soros was found by his caretaker. Okay, now I understand it was a bomb, and what do bombs do? And I'm glad that this didn't happen to anybody and that nobody was hurt, but bombs go off, right? So this bomb intended for George Soros was supposed to go off, but it didn't. Why didn't it go off? So we haven't heard anything about that. Was this person deficient that sent it, or was it just a hoax? All right, so then suddenly you have bombs in Clinton and Obama, and everybody's got a bomb. I've got a bomb. If you drive around in a 73 Pinto, I got a bomb. It's that kind of thing now. So everybody's got a bomb, because nobody can verify it, and the only people that can verify it are who? The police, the Secret Service and the FBI. You remember them from the Rosenstein and Mueller, those people, and the media. Okay, so you have the fake media and the FBI who are verifying all these stories. All right, I don't know exactly what happened, but here on Deceptions of the Ages News, Deceptions of the Ages, the book that I wrote, is about this very thing. It's about how people like the Rothschilds speculated in currency and took over the currency market in all these countries. And the same thing is happened with George Soros. He was a Nazi collaborator. And all these things are in my book, Deceptions of the Ages. So I really would encourage you, if you really want to know what's going on and how these things work, you really need to look at that book. So that's how it is today. And this is Deceptions of the Ages News. We'll see you next time.